Well, hello everyone, welcome. Dori Sukup here. I am with Tara in our office, and we also have another business advisor with us today, and that's our partner up in New Hampshire, Megan, and
Hi,
she's going to
everybody.
be with us today. We're so excited, and we have a very fun chapter to talk about. I have to say, this is probably the first big impact that I experienced out of Think and Grow Rich, and I'm going to be sharing with you a personal story to discuss that. It's really a lot of fun. So welcome everyone, Dori Sukup here. Very happy that you are with us. We have people still joining. As you join, make sure you give us your name and then tell us where you're from. We'd love to hear from you. And we also have a poll that you can take to let us know a little bit more about where you are and what you're doing and what you need help with. So make sure you fill that out as people are joining us. We have people literally from all over the world, don't we, Tara?
We do. Thailand, Dublin, Mexico, Australia, Spain, Malaysia.
Oh
We
God.
always love Malaysia jumping on. So
It's
2
always-
o'clock in the morning.
I know. It's so much fun to see that our reach is expanding. And so is our office. We're almost done with the construction for our brand new studio. They're laying the carpet, as a matter of fact, right now. So if you hear some banging, that's what that is. We're super happy that that's almost
It's
done.
nice. Like every time I walk by it, you can just see more progress and more progress. So it'll be done before we know it.
It is. It's so much fun. So we had some comments from the last book gathering, and would like to share with you a few of them. And while everybody is still getting on, please turn off your distractions, stay with us, because for you to get the most out of this book and these book gatherings that we're doing together is that you really need to apply it. Think and Grow Rich is not a book that you just read. It's a book that takes application, it takes implementation, and when you do that, then you get to see all the results from it. So why don't we start with some comments from last time? And if you have a comment, of course, right now, or a question, make sure you put it into the chat. Whether you are, we're on 3 platforms again today. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Zoom. So whichever platform you're on, stay with us. We're gonna have some great prizes we're gonna give away. We're also going to give away a Leap Ahead seat again. This is a virtual Leap Ahead, and it's going to be a value of $1,500. So you definitely want to stick around, because we're going to tell you how you're going to be able to register to win for that.
Yeah, and the buzz is getting so excited about the virtual Leap Ahead. We've had people call all day long reserving their seats. I mean, it's been crazy.
Well, it's been something that people have been wanting us to do forever.
Yes, they have been.
And we've always said no, and now we said yes.
We did. So it'll be fun for us, I think, to have
for sure
a different platform. So I'm going to start with some of the comments that we received from last book gathering that were sent over for Dori. Maggie from Canada said, Dori, thank you for doing the book gathering. It's something that I look forward to every week. So nice to know people like you exist and you're willing to take the time to help people like me. Thank you so much. So,
see, that's what keeps us going, is getting comments like this. That's so sweet to take the time to actually do that.
And we look forward to the Fridays as well. Like that's the highlight of my week. So,
the only thing is we have not introduced wine yet to this gathering.
I was super
not yet.
I got invited to be here today too, so I love being able to do this virtually. I'll be excited when I get to do it in person in a couple weeks.
And then I have one more comment that came from Jonathan. He said, Dori, thank you for your book. I read it and am applying it. You're so great. Thank you for taking the Leap Ahead virtually. So we're going to see Jonathan virtually at Leap. I just signed up and I look forward to attending. So it'll be great to have Jonathan attending. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Brock, thank you for joining on Zoom.
Yeah.
We're so happy to do this for you.
Thank you. Yes. So Tara's going to try to keep up with the comments and as I kind of go through the content here. But the thing is, last week, what we went over last week was chapter 1. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, don't worry. The beautiful thing about Think and Grow Rich is that you can pick it up and read one of the principles in the middle of the book or at the end of the book. It does not matter. It's not like you're reading a novel where you have to find out what happened in the first chapter and the second chapter. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the second program of the book gathering. We did my book the first time. We did How to Make Millions with Your Medical Spa. And those are available on Global MedSpa Association.com. You can go and watch them all in case you missed those. And then last week, we did the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, which was Thoughts Are Things. They're so powerful, right? And we went through the whole chapter last week, and we talked about persistence. We talked about implementation. We talked about how to apply the whole thought process. And I gave you an assignment, remember? Did you do your homework? I hope so. Your homework was to monitor your thoughts. And I gave you an anchor word to use. So I was asking Tara, because we haven't really talked about it all week. And I was asking her and Megan if they had some pattern interruptions with the word light. Remember I told you, snap your fingers, say the word light. Well, I had to have a talk with myself this week too. Oh. I had to use light a couple of times. I'm being honest. But you have to do that. Isn't it interesting?
Well, I think with the situation and everything going on, like it's so easy to have that negativity right now. It's just even just going out to the store, you know, and everyone wearing masks, and it's kind of something to get used to. So I had several lights myself, which I'm thankful for, because I've never used that before. And it's always just kept playing in my head. And I was like, how do I stop this? So, I mean, it stopped it immediately. Yeah. And it made a big difference in my week. So I hope you all use light. And we have a question in the poll asking you, did you use the light to help stop that negative pattern? So we'd like to hear from you.
All right, so turn off all distractions, and we're gonna dive into actually chapter 2. And I just want to share with you quickly the best way to participate. I had mentioned last week that you should have a notebook specifically for Think and Grow Rich, and grab your favorite pen and take notes and jot down anything that comes to you during the week to make sure that you are staying on the right track and that you are implementing every single week. So the best way is to, as we're going through this, you need to be asking yourself, what takeaways can I take from this chapter? What can I apply from this chapter? And what we're going to be talking about today is desire. And more importantly, we're going to stress burning desire. That's probably the best kind of desire that you can have. And whenever I start working with people, clients, and they have teams, one of the things that we assess all the time is, what is the quality of the team? And we do the rating, right? Are you an A player, B player, or a C player? And it's always the A players that have that burning desire to succeed. And it makes such a difference, because to me, burning desire is not something you can teach. You can try to coach them on it. You can try the training. You can try the reprogramming of the mind. But you might have it for a while, and if they're very strong or self-disciplined, then they might keep it going. But what's important is, if you hire someone with the desire already, then it makes everything flow so much easier, right? Just like my Tara over here has burning desire. My Megan has burning desire. So they're driven, they want to do well. Just like the stories we covered last week with Barnes, remember? Barnes, when he decided to go and be a partner, not only work for Thomas Edison, but he wanted to be a partner with Thomas Edison. So when he walked into that office, he wasn't thinking, well, you know what, Tara, I'm just going to go hang out for a little bit, see what happens, explore my options. Right? Maybe I'll work, maybe I won't. That's not what he said. He had a definiteness about his choice to walk into that office and let Edison know that I want to be your partner. That's desire. That's as strong of a desire as you can possibly have. And that's really what desire is all about. It's such an important thing to really go through and realize what is it that you really want yourself.
And that's actually the comment that I highlighted. See, I wrote in my book, underlined it, highlighted. He said, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to be a business partner with him. Yeah. He put him on notice.
That's very bold.
Yes, very bold.
Very bold. And he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
I did not come to ask for a job.
But I want to relate this to what we see as a consulting firm. Like, we get some doctors that come to us, some medical professionals, even entrepreneurs that might have another business and now they want to do a medical spa. And we come across this all the time where they have one foot in and one foot out. And if you're with us today and you're one of these people that you're thinking, you want to put your toe in the water and feel the water. And some people may still have a regular job. They want to do this on the side. And, you know, at the end of the day, you need to make a choice of what exactly it is that you want to do. Do you want to truly get into the med spa and spa business? And if you do, then you need to just do it. But if you're trying to test the water, try this for a little bit and try that for a little while, that's not how you get into multiple seven-figure businesses. It's just not. So it's a choice that you want to do. It's a desire to want to go full boat or to just keep doing what you're doing.
And we have people right now during this situation, the coronavirus, that have that desire because they're calling and saying, hey, we're still moving forward with opening a med spa.
Yeah.
I mean, I just talked to someone yesterday and we did a whole business plan for him. So she's like, it didn't go away. She's like, I'm even determined now more than I was. So
absolutely. I mean, well, even Shelby Miller, one of our mastermind members, she was in the middle of construction, opening up. By the way, if you have not seen the webinar I did with her, you must see it. Shelby has over 85,000 followers on Instagram. She is amazing. She was with me on a webinar and we shared with everyone how to gain followers and convert them into clients. So you really need to go watch it if you have not watched it yet. But she was in the middle of building. And so you really have to burn the ships. Did you read that section in the book about burning the ship? Well, that's actually Army General Captain Cortez. That's who burned the ships. So let me kind of refresh your memory about that story in the book. So this happened back in 1519. So they had a battle. So they pulled up the ships to where the battle is. And General Cortez, after they got off the ships, instructed his men to burn the ships. He said, it's either we win or we perish. There's no other way off this island. It's either we're gonna win the war or we're all gonna die. So that's burning the ship. That's putting everything behind and moving forward towards what it is that you want to achieve. And when you do that, when you burn the ships, you're all in 100%. And what do you think is gonna happen when you're in 100%? So what ships do you have to burn? That's the question I wanna ask you. What is the ship that you want to burn? What's keeping you from truly doing the best that you can do? What's keeping you from getting the results that you really want? Well, one of them is not knowing exactly what your desire truly is. And when you discover that, you're going to be so much better off. When you burn the ship, you can definitely make progress in your...
Dori, that's exactly the phrase that on that page that I highlighted as well and thought about that. Allowing yourself not to be able to go backwards is such a huge and powerful thing when you make that choice and you make that decision that you can't turn around and run away. I highlighted that exact same thing.
Yep, so important.
So for those of you that are asking and are joining us live and you missed last week, the book that Dori's discussing and talking about is The Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So those of you that asked, this is what we're discussing today. And we'll continue discussing it for the next 12 to 13 weeks because we're doing every chapter every Friday. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and make sure you get the version. If you don't have Think and Grow Rich, make sure you get the version that's for the 21st century. So it looks like that, well, showing a little backwards, but if you you can go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble and be able to get it, and that way you can come along with us. And I have to tell you, if you are with us for the first time, I was telling everybody last week that this book changed my life. I read it for the first time when I was 19 years old. And truly, it's not a book that you just read, it's a book that you apply and you live. And when you apply and live it, like what we're talking about here is desire, is our second chapter. When you make up your mind on these things, then things are gonna definitely happen for you.
And some of you were answering our poll, and we really appreciate it. And we had a question saying, are you having any challenges right now? And some of you were answering yes. So if you would take a moment and write what those challenges are in the questions so that we can help you, because if we don't know what those challenges are, we can't offer solutions for you.
Right.
So please let us know what they are so we can help you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so one other part in the book he talks about is the Chicago fire. Now, remember, back in 1871, Chicago basically burned down, right? The only thing that withstood that fire is actually the water tower right in Chicago. As a matter of fact, my ex-husband proposed to me right there because he's from Chicago. And it was right at the water tower. And the reason he did it there because it showed such endurance. Wasn't that romantic? I don't know what happened after that.
Water tower?
Oh, I'm just kidding. All right. So we have to have fun, right?
Right.
So
What
happened?
story I didn't know about you.
So now I know. Oh, so there you go. Yeah, we stayed at the Park Hyatt right on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. It's so nice, the Golden Coast. I like Chicago. It's a fun city to go to, especially in the fall. It's absolutely beautiful.
I remember going with you in this.
Yeah. Oh. So to continue with the fire story, though, what happens after the fire, everybody decided to leave. All the vendors, all the store owners, they decided, you know, I'm just not, this is going to take a long time to build, rebuild, we're out of here. So they actually left. And that fire actually cost Chicago back then. We're talking back in 1871. It cost the expenses were $220 million. So if you use it in today's dollars, it's like literally billions and billions of dollars that actually took place. But here's the difference between people that leave, they give up, and the people that stay. And the people that stayed was the owner of Marshall Fields, right? Marshall Fields, the biggest store back then in Chicago. It's still now, still standing. It's not called Marshall Fields anymore, but that's Macy's. So that's who Macy's is. It's really, they bought Marshall Fields in Chicago. As a matter of fact, my mink coat is from Marshall Fields. Yeah. So anyway, what you want to do here is make a decision, just like Marshall Fields decided, you know, I'm going to stick it out. Actually, that's a great translation for what we're going through right now. We have so many people that we hear about that maybe they didn't have the right structure in place. They didn't do the right things back then. They might be hurting financially right now, or you might be in great shape and you're just moving forward. Either way, this story should really encourage you to just keep going, keep moving forward. Don't get stuck in the past. That's the best advice I can give you, is not to get stuck. Because once you're stuck, you're done. You have to keep moving. So if Marshall Fields can actually build a store right after that huge fire and succeed to build it, to Macy's want to buy it, I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff.
And the fact that everybody else just left.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just standing all alone.
Exactly.
I mean, that's amazing, because usually when everybody else gets up and leaves, you just follow suit.
Yeah.
So
very, very true.
And I have to tell you, our clients that are in this industry, they are not followers. Like, they find Dori and then they stand up and implement what Dori has, and that they're like a Marshall Fields.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's fun. All right, so let's talk about the 6 definite practices, practical steps that you can use. And those were on if you're looking at your book, I forget what page they were on page 22. So I'm going to read to you those principles that you need to commit right now to really applying, because it makes such a big difference really in your business. So the first one is fix in your mind the exact amount you desire, exact amount of money you desire. So that's the first step in actually applying the desire principle in this book. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, I want to make X amount of money by this date. So that's the second thing, is you have to have a date of when you're going to be able to actually accomplish that. So determine exactly what you intend to give in return for that money. So you decide what is the money amount that you want to have by whatever amount, whatever time, and then what you're willing to give back in return. So I've done this exercise over and over and over. And I told you, I read this book all the time and I try to live it all the time. Now, I'm not perfect. I fall off the wagon sometimes and I come back. but everybody basically goes through that. So then, so the three things is decide what amount you want, what will you do for this money, and third is the date. So I got them out of order here a little bit. All right, so then number 4 is you have to create a plan. And that's where most people fall short. Because if you don't have a plan, desire is nothing but a dream.
They fail to plan.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to know exactly what you're going to do to actually make that happen. And then write out a clear and concise statement. So I'm going to recommend this to you. So this is another, obviously, I'm a Think and Grow Rich and Turkey. So there's this workbook that is amazing, actually. It helps you also with the entire process. And let's see. So it's called The Practical Steps to Transforming Your Desire into Riches. So if you want to go look it up and get the workbook. And that way you can actually do the exercises that are required to make sure you're implementing properly, right? So that would be good. And then the other one is you have to read your statement morning and evening. So you write out the statement that included the 5 first steps, and then all you have to do is read it morning and night to keep it in your mind and keep going over it and keep moving you forward toward that goal that you want.
Or I like how it says, as you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in the possession of the money. Yeah. I mean, you have to.
Very
if
powerful.
you don't, it is. I love that spot. I think I read it like 3 or 4 times just to keep making sure I knew what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you just come up with any amount of money?
Well, actually, that's a good question. It has to be somewhat realistic, or it has to be attached to a plan. So like you can't say, okay, I want to make $10 million this year. But if you don't have the plan to support that amount of money that you can make, then it's not going to happen.
That's where I kept getting hung up when I was reading. I was like, well, how do I just pick a number out of thin air to decide? Anyone wants a limited amount of money.
So when people are self-employed, the number that everybody wants to get to is 10 million. That's usually the magical number that people want to get to. Now, frankly, in the medical spa arena, though there are some people that do multiple 7 figures, but I don't know too many unless they have like multiple locations. But usually your standalone med spas are not making $10 million a year. But that's a good goal, because if you want to exit your business, I was talking with my friend David, we talk about this often, like your exit strategy, right? You should be planning that now, your exit strategy. Even if you're just going in business now, you need to plan your exit strategy. That's smart planning, by the way. So when you want to decide what is that amount of money, you have to make sure that the plan makes sense to the amount of money that you want to get. So I'm working towards my 10 million, right? And I only want to work about 3 more years. That's why I'm grooming my lovely ladies to take over. So I can be in Tahiti or in the Fiji Islands. I can be sailing around on my boat my yacht, I should say.
That is some big shoes to fill, I have to tell you.
Yeah, but that's okay. You
But
can
I'm
do
up for the challenge.
That's
I have
right.
the desire
You have
to
the
make that
desire.
challenge. Yes, I do.
That's true.
Absolutely. That's why I'm here. Definitely have the desire. And later, if we have a moment to share personal stories, I'll share mine too.
Very good. And so that's what I'm working toward, because I wanna retire and I wanna have a nice lifestyle. But now here's the important part, is that you should give back, right? You should be able to also part of this plan, because remember, one of it was, what are you supposed to do, or what are your intentions to give in return for what it is that you're gonna get. So you can't just keep taking. It's take and give, and that's how the whole aura of the world, the whole physics or whatever works. You know, you give and you receive. That's important. So what I want to do, I want to share with you a little bit of what my intentions are. So I want to be super successful. I want to be able to have the money to support my family, give my team nice lifestyle, be able to provide good living for them. But what I really want to do is, after I retire, I want to start a nonprofit organization. And what I want to do is actually teach third world countries how to go out and open up businesses so they can be on their own and be able to provide for their families. Because a lot of the people don't realize that they can grow a garden and sell the vegetables. They can do this. So that's what I want to do. That's my passion. So I want to take my expertise that I have already and then apply it to countries that could really use the help on how to set up a business. So that's what I want to do. And that's what is in my actual statement of what I'm willing to give back for that money. So you need to do the same thing. So go through these 6 steps and then decide what it is that you really want.
I think that's good homework.
Mm-hmm. Very good homework. You need to do it. So that was on page, if you have this type of book, this was on page 22. I think we have some people asking who's the author. The author
of the workbook.
Oh,
so she asked, who's the author of the workbook Dori held up?
Yeah, so it's adapted from Napoleon Hill's landmark classic. So it's by Joel Fotinos. It's Fotinos. Joel Fotinos and August Gold. That's
and I think if you just search online,
Probably.
Think and Grow Rich workbook, you'll be able to find it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as far as the homework, I would just read these 6 steps again, and then sit down at home tonight, preferably, and write out those 6 steps, and you will see, you'll see how things will happen. So I want to share with you a story on how this worked for me the very first time, because it's been a while, but I want to share it with you. Now, if you've been to the Leap Ahead seminar, you probably heard me tell this story, because it's a very important story. And I always promote the Think and Grow Rich at the book, at the Leap Ahead seminar as well. So picture this. So I'm 24 years old. I get promoted to be a manager. And at the resort, they gave me a team. They never trained me on how to be a manager. I was always driven, as you can tell. So I thought everybody should be like me. I couldn't understand why the team members I had were not driven. So I went into my vice president at the time, complaining to him that my team doesn't want to do this, they don't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. So he just looked at me and said, Dori, you need to go and start training your team. You need to love your team. You need to take care of them. I'm like, okay. So I left the office and I decided, okay, I need to do something here. Well, every year in the hospitality industry, that's where my first job was, we would do an awards every year. They would have the American Resort Development Association awards. And one lady from our resort was nominated to win the award. And what they do is almost like the Grammys, right? Or the Oscars. They put on this amazing event. You have people that are nominated. You have usually about 4 to 5 people who are nominated, just like the awards, and then they pick one winner. Well, Jackie was her name. Jackie was the older other female manager that worked at the resort. And here I am, the little, 24-year-old little girl that knew nothing, basically. So I wanted to be like Jackie. She was my mentor. I wanted to be nominated. So I was in the middle of rereading my Think and Grow Rich. So there's a chapter we're going to come to that's called visualization. So I would sit at home and I would say, I want to be like Jackie. I want to be nominated for that award. What do I have to do? And I basically started applying things from Think and Grow Rich to really build my team, because the next year I wanted to be up on that stage. I could see myself. I could taste it. I had the smallest team possible. I had lots of challenges. I didn't have the experience. I had nothing. I knew nothing except my passion and my desire to succeed. That was what I had. So I would go home and I would study and I would train, and I would come in the morning meetings and I would train my team and develop them. And guess what? Sure enough, the next year, yours truly was on that stage getting that award, applying exactly what was in this book. This is a global award, you guys. Here I am. I was 25 at the time. No one had ever won that award at the age of 25, yet alone a woman. That did not happen, right? Because Jackie was old. She was like me now. But that's what I did. I went to that event. I paid my own way to go to Vegas. The event was in Vegas. I paid my own way, bought my own ticket to go to the gala, just so I can sit and see what it was all about and see myself doing that next year, and did it. And went on to win that award several times, probably more than anybody has.
I think I've seen that award. It's floating around the office somewhere.
Several of them.
Because we were moving around and I was like, wait. She's like, oh my gosh, that's my award.
Yeah.
And it's not just one, it's several of them.
But that's what you want to do. So you decide what is it that you really want to do. And then just go and do it and follow these principles that we are talking about. It makes a big difference, you guys. It really does. Did you remember a time where you experienced something like this? Or Megan, have you experienced something like that?
If you have one, go for it.
Well, I think part of mine kind of ties into what we talked about last week when I told my husband when I came here, I'm going to be managing that company one day. And he was like, okay. And I remember having that conversation with you, and you said, you have to act, dress, and be what you want to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I have an entire new wardrobe from when I first met you. And to me, that's always in my mind. And now I have a new desire because Dori's always talking about she's leaving and she's grooming me. And I mean, I have a new desire. This office we're sitting in one day will be my office. That's right. I already have a plaque for the door. It's going to be my office one day.
Put it on, please.
I'm going to put it on the door. But I mean, in this whole construction thing, Dori's like, you might actually get my office. And I'm like, not might. I'm going to one of these days. So
it's all yours.
But I mean, it's just because it's in me. I love to get to work with our clients every single day. I get to do coaching calls with them and help them decide, new steps for their businesses and overcome any challenges that they have. And it's really great to get to work with them. Yeah. So I like that.
And the nice thing about also Tara and me is that, I wanted to win that award, but I wasn't really thinking about the money, because I knew if I win the award, the money comes automatically, right? And I was already making 6 figures at that early age. I mean, I started making $100,000 a year when I was in my early 20s. So I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I wanted it. I could taste it. I just wanted to be the best of the best. That, my friends, is burning desire.
Yeah, because I think when I kept reading the 6 steps, I couldn't come up with a dollar amount because I'm not driven by money. I mean, and you know that about me. I am not driven at all by money. So it's hard for me to think about that. Yeah. And
But
try
it
to put-
comes.
It
I
does.
mean, it's important to have that goal though.
Right.
So you need to, even though it is difficult, you still need to get an amount. Because put it this way, at the end of the day, the reason we go into work, because we want financial freedom, we want to be able to provide for our families. So the money is an important part of it, right? And God tells us the world is full of abundant things that you can reach. As a matter of fact, I mean, again, there's story after story in here. Like when Carnegie started, he was a worker in the mill. He ended up owning it. I mean, again, if that's not burning desire, I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I don't come here for free either.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm a great person,
If
but
that's the case, I'm going to donate all your salary to the needy.
So that's fun, Tara. That's a great desire, and it's so funny that you and I didn't even have a conversation today about this. But my desire has always been to grow as a leader and as a speaker. And I met Dori back in, I don't know, probably 5 years ago at this point, and the dynamics of Dori, I just became enamored with. And many people know the story of Megan stalking Dori in Las Vegas on an e-scooter, to really just kind of soak in not only her knowledge, but her presence. And the presence commands the room. And that is what drew me to Dori. In that conference, and I've never told her this, in that conference, I decided in Las Vegas that one day I would work with her.
Huh.
And
Never
so,
told me that. Oh, I just got goosebumps.
so in January, I reached out to Dori and said, hey, I have a thought. And here I am. So I am super thankful, because it works. When you put all of those thoughts in and you set a goal. And again, Tara, mine wasn't financial either. Of course, I want financial freedom. That's always the goal. But the goal was to learn and to become a dynamic speaker and leader who can command the room and have the best tools in the industry to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I never told you that before.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
well, I think too, when I was reading the different things throughout the Think and Grow Rich book, they weren't trying to be something that the person they were joining wasn't already, right? So like Edison and all them, they wanted to be like that person and in business with them because they were connected, not because they were trying to bring something different.
Yeah. And they didn't give up. That's the
Right.
other point. Like Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he found out about the formula for electricity. I mean, there are so many stories. He talks about Mary Kay, how she started, and she was almost ready to give up. You know what kept her in? Did you notice that in the story? What kept her in is she attended a seminar that motivated her to actually continue and keep going. So does that tell you something? That's why so many of our mastermind members that are just doing so well is because they continue feeding their mind with things that are super helpful. But imagine if Mary Kay had quit. Imagine, I mean, this is a company that had thousands and thousands of employees, back then. She went on to win the Queen contest, right? That's the kind of awards that they had. But she didn't do good when she first started, but she had the desire to want to do good. The thing is, you can't quit. You have to keep going.
Well, and I think sometimes so many people are like, oh my gosh, another trade show, right? But I can't even tell you how many times we've been at shows and we've seen clients who are actually with us live saying, I'm so glad I came to this show because there was another key that I was missing, that I learned from this presentation, that I learned from this business class. And that's why people continue coming to the Leap Ahead. I mean, we have mastermind members that they've been there once, twice, 3, 4 times, but every time they come, there's more knowledge and you can't give up.
No, that's for sure. So let's tell them how they're going to win the Leap Ahead ticket.
Yes.
Talking about Leap Ahead.
So how you're going to win the Leap Ahead ticket is we want you to take your phone, your device, whatever you're joining us on, and take a selfie of yourself with Dori's book.
Yeah, not Think and Grow Rich.
Yes,
We
you're
want
gonna
the
take it
millionaires.
with Dori's book, How to Make Millions with Your Medical Spa.
Yeah.
And then put it on your social media platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook.
Or you can do a TikTok.
Yeah,
like
there
this.
you go. You could do some TikTok music. We have to get some inspiration management music on TikTok for you guys. And then tag inspiration management in it. And then that way we'll be able to do the drawing and enter you to win that Leap Ahead ticket. I have to tell you, the value of that leap ahead ticket is so much more than the $1,500 that you're going to pay. I've had people come and say, I would have paid double that for the information.
Well,
and knowledge.
it was double that.
It is. Normally the cost is double.
Yeah, so normally when you come in person, it's $2,900 to come and attend that. But since we're taking it virtual, we decided to reduce the price for it because of course it cuts our costs down. So we're passing on those savings to you, especially with things the way things are now. But the Leap Ahead usually is a 3-day in-person seminar. So how we're going to do it virtually is by chopping it up into modules, and we're going to have 2-hour webinar modules for like 12 weeks and twice a month actually. The schedule is all on Inspiration Management if you want to go check it out. But truly, it's a right step in the right direction for you to truly structure your business now. Like I was talking with someone this morning. I happened to walk into Sarah's office and she was on the phone with Angela from Canada. And she was considering the Leap Ahead seminar. And she was like, oh, $1,500. I'm like, that's like the smallest investment you can make to be able to make thousands and thousands of dollars. So I asked her this. I said, do you have a membership program right now? And she's like, no. And I said, that's enough reason for you to want to join, because we have members right now who are still profitable because they have a membership program. So how can you say no to attending when now more than ever you need to have the proper system, structure, strategy, solutions in your business? So God forbid, if this happens again, you're not in that same situation. So investing in yourself like Mary Kay did, to keep going, to keep learning, because the more you learn, the better off you're going to be. So I hope we have a great winner we'll announce next week for you. All right, one other favorite story of mine in Think and Grow Rich, that's Ray Kroc, right? Everybody thinks that he founded McDonald's, but he really did not. It was the Wright brothers, right?
The McDonald's.
The
McDonald's brothers.
The McDonald's brothers, the Wright brothers are the airplane people. They're flying hamburgers, what the heck? So Ray Kroc used to sell shake machines to restaurants. So he happened to walk into the McDonald's brothers place and he saw how systematic everything was, how clean everything was, how they were just so busy selling those hamburgers, very limited menu, yet they were jam-packed. Now, the McDonald brothers had actually tried to franchise their business before Ray Kroc came, but they failed miserably. So when Ray Kroc came to them, and he was so interested in what they were doing, that they decided to give him the rights to franchise.
When I remember the thing that caught his attention was he didn't understand why such a small place ordered 6 machines when everybody else was always ordering 1.
Exactly.
And he was like, I have to see what's going on.
Right.
Why do they need 6? Like, you got to investigate.
That's right. See what's going on. So, and then that's how he actually took over McDonald's. And McDonald's, whether you like it or not, I'm not a McDonald's eater, but they have almost 40,000 restaurants worldwide. And the reason they do is because of all the things that we teach, all the systems, the structure. And think about it. Who is McDonald's run by? They're all teenagers. They're young kids running this multi-billion-dollar business. But the reason they succeed is because they take these students or young people, and then they just teach them the systems. They have Hamburger University. They teach them how to flip the hamburger, how to cook the fries. Everything is so systematic. And that's how come Ray Kroc was able to build the business to what it is right now.
Amazing.
Very nice story. Again, burning desire, you guys. Burning desire makes a big difference.
I think in following that story, how it quotes that the world is full with an abundance of opportunity. And it is. You just have to go get it.
Yeah. And I mean, we talk to mastermind members about this all the time. As a matter of fact, yesterday.
Yeah, so I was talking to Mabir. I was sharing with you earlier, and I think I got to share with Megan a little earlier because the 3 of us were on a call. And Mabir she's a mastermind member, and during this whole coronavirus situation, Dori did a training with our members and got them to start doing online webinars, because that's how you're reaching your clients right now for those that are not open. And Mabir did her first ever webinar, which she was so nervous about, but we got the presentation together. She got her verbiage together. She really worked with us.
She do her webinar, she did it in English and in Spanish.
That's correct. She did it in English and Spanish. So she did it twice, and she's in a small town in Virginia. And her webinar did so amazing that she got a phone call from the #1 television show for Latin American women globally. And they invited her to do a presentation and speak with her because they wanted to figure out what was going on with her that made her such a successful Latin American woman. I mean, how amazing is that? And she called me and she's like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, why? Like, you deserve this.
We can guide you.
We can help you.
Yeah.
We know exactly what you can say. And she was so excited about it. But to me, like, hearing stories like that is amazing. So, I mean, somebody had asked me earlier on here, Dori, and they said, you know, you keep talking about members that are coming to Leap Ahead. How do they keep coming to Leap Ahead? I mean, Mabir's come to Leap Ahead twice, and I think brought her manager as well. Yeah. And so we might need to share with them.
Before I was an employee.
That's true.
Before I was a team member, I was at 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Paid full price for them.
Well, the reason it's important to come more than once is because I explain the learning process as a spiral staircase, right? As you rise up, you have a different view. So every time you come, you get something else based on where you are right now. It makes a big difference. It really does.
Because it's whatever your focus is, right?
Yeah.
So those that had asked how, so many of them came multiple times, we'll share with you in a minute just exactly how they did that.
Yeah, you just have to become a member.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
She let the secret out already.
It's very simple. All right, I want to read now. There's a whole section here about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he was able to reach the level of success that he reached. I mean, imagine this guy came from Austria, a young man, bodybuilder, right? And he just totally barely speaks English and totally was able to just reach success at the highest level possible. So he started with bodybuilding. He wrote books. Then he went to teach women how to become bodybuilders. Then he made movies. He wanted to become an actor. So he made, remember Conan the Barbarian? Oh my gosh. Remember all the women going crazy over that one? Yes. So you probably don't even know what
I don't think I do.
I might have to figure it out. Yeah, you need to go check out. You need to go check out Conan the Barbarian. Maybe you can watch it on Netflix tonight. There you go. And then he became the governor. I mean, think about it. All the things he was able to accomplish. But you know what? I just want to share this with you because I know we have a lot of foreign people probably joining us right now. When people come to America, we look at America as the land of opportunities. We think that anything is possible. You have all the opportunities in the world. And that's why you see so many foreign people that come here and take advantage of the opportunities that you have here in the US. So anybody can do this. Imagine somebody that does not speak English and actually achieving that level of success. That's amazing. So if these people can do it, so can you. If I can do it, so can you, right? So I just want to read this for you because this is very important. On desire. It's actually a poem. Did you guys read it? It has a lot of in-depth meaning. So I just want to read it to you. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay me no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked for, I asked of life, life would have willingly paid. What does this really mean? Like when you sit down and think of this poem, what does it really mean? It means be careful what you ask of life. Because if you're asking for pennies, guess what? That's what you're gonna get. So be careful what you ask for. I mean, we all are, again, driven to want to do better. So if life is full of abundance, then why not ask of life what we really want? I'll tell you why. Because a lot of people feel that they're not worthy. They can't even imagine having the certain level of success that other people have. They don't think they're worthy. So they just settle for the pennies. So if you ask for the pennies, that's what you're gonna get. If you change your mindset and start feeling of yourself as worthy, I'm gonna give you an example for your business. So we have people who charge $10 a unit for Botox. Then you have people that charge $15 a unit for Botox. Why? Why are you working? Oh, my arm still hurts. Why are you working for pennies? And why, literally pennies when you sell it at $10 a unit? And why is somebody selling it at $15 a unit? Because they feel they're worthy. So what are you asking? You get. So get rid of the pennies. They're not for you. You are better than the pennies. So start asking and you shall receive.
When I like that quote, there's a difference between wishing for it and being ready to receive it.
Yes.
Like you have to be prepared that it's going to come and be ready for it.
Yeah, it is. It's
Because I remember that was in the book.
Yeah.
There, I have that highlighted right on my page. I was just going to say that out
Yeah,
loud.
I have that highlighted as well. I feel like we all are kind of on the same, and I'm sure so many of our followers and members with us probably highlighted that same thing in their book.
Yeah.
And if you did it, you probably should have, and reread it.
I mean, there are so many sections in here, you guys. He talks about Helen Keller. He talks about Beethoven, how he was deaf. I mean, how can you become the greatest performer,
Composer.
composer, thank you, and and you can hear? That's just crazy. Just totally crazy. So there's a lot of great things that you can do once you decide on exactly what it is that you want to do. So ask life for what you want so life can give you what you really are asking for. Okay, so the other point I want to make here, because we're coming up, we have about 10 minutes. I know I want to give away some products here with some of the people that are with us. But, you know, people say that knowledge is power, right? But knowledge is power only if you do something with that knowledge. If you don't apply the knowledge, then knowledge is not going to do you any good. As a matter of fact, that was one of the obstacles that I did on the webinar with the mastermind members. We had 5. If you haven't seen that, by the way, you really should see it. So I had 5 mastermind members with me on a webinar last week. And we talked about the 10 obstacles that could be stopping your success. And one of them is like being stuck and not learning and not advancing. Or you learn so much, but then you don't take action, you don't do anything. And that's not a good thing. So I really want to highly recommend going to that and watching the webinar. You can go to Global MedSpa Association to actually watch it if you like. All right, so I know we have some questions too. So let's give away something first, and then we'll wrap up with the homework and the next chapter, Tara. So the next chapter is going to be about faith. Got a lot of great stuff coming up, you guys. A lot of great stuff. Tell us how you're liking this and what else we can do to even help you more. It'll be fun. Let us know.
This is great. I love being an active part of this. I'm having a lot of fun today, Dori.
Good. We like that. Oh, and then of course, the most important story in the Burning Desire is his story about his son, Blair, how he was born without ears. And then he was so determined not to have his son grow up to be deaf and dumb that he actually willingly drove himself into getting his son to actually hear and speak. It's just amazing. Isn't it like mind-blowing? It really is. So, all right. So we have some questions.
it looks like Brooke had made a comment and she said, thank you for doing this, Dori. I've had this book for so long and I'm actually reading, and so many people are making that comment that they've had the Think and Grow Rich for so long and never read it or never put its principles to use.
Yeah.
So she said, I haven't fully read it, and this is the perfect time for me to take this opportunity to do so.
Actually, you know, that's so right, because if you don't do it now, then you're never going to do it. And there's so much garbage going on right now that you really need some positivity.
Yeah, it's like, don't watch the news. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing positive on the news at all, and you don't even know what's reality, but this is.
For sure.
So I like that.
So let's give away something while you're looking up your questions.
I like that.
You wanna pick, so
Montek says this book should be in high schools and mandatory for them to read it.
It's absolutely.
That's a great idea.
All right, so there's two very important things that you really need to have in your success library. And one of them is the compensation model, and one of them is the budget. Now, both of these products are $1,000 each, you guys. This is like a huge gift I'm giving away. But those two tools also come part of the Leap Ahead program. So those of you who are gonna come and join us virtually, you actually get 6 different business tools with the Leap Ahead seminar. So these two are part of that seminar, plus the guest relations, plus the team building, plus the don't sell, recommend, which is of course our #1. So I'm gonna give away first the budget, because I know during our book gathering for my book, we had so many people say they could definitely use a budget. So now you can get your hands on this budget either by signing up for the Leap Ahead virtually, or you get to win it today. So whichever. So I'm gonna have Tara maybe pick a name from some of the folks that are with us. And then we're just gonna give one away. Then the other one I'm gonna give away is the guest relations, because to me, this is such an important position in your business. And if you don't have the right person for the guest relations, then you're really missing out on a lot of things. So I'm gonna give away these 2 products. And then if you do what Tara told you to do, take a picture of yourself and post it and share it, right, with my book. So you have to do a little selfie with my book, like I love Dori's book.
And you need to tag Inspiration Management as well as hashtag Inspiration Management so that you can be entered for that drawing.
Yeah. So the other one I'm gonna give away is our very famous volume per guest compensation model, which is a performance-based compensation model. If you implement this, you will make sure that you are profitable, because there are a lot of people that are not as profitable as they could be. So let's go ahead and give away these 2 to people who either commented or asked a question. So you had somebody who asked a question we can give it to, or somebody who commented or is active. So we'll do that. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and ask the question here. So one question here came to us from Bill from California. So I want to know how much you helped me last week. I never paid so much attention to my thought process. I found out that I'm not as positive as I thought I was. You know, that's usually something that we hear from a lot of people. So he's asking, he said, I want to say thank you, and I'm attending the Leap Ahead virtually. So happy that you are doing this. So I guess he has already signed up for Leap Ahead. So that's great. All right. So that wasn't a question, that was just a comment. We look forward to seeing you. Okay.
So we're gonna give
the volume per
the
guest.
volume per guest to Brooke Kennedy.
All right.
Brooke Kennedy has been following you at ESI in Vancouver for so many years.
Oh,
And she
nice.
happens to be live with us today. So we're super
Nice.
excited to have you live, Brooke. So if you'll just take a moment and send an email over to info@Inspiration Management, we will definitely get that VPG for you.
All right.
So congratulations. And it's our pleasure, Brooke. And then we're going to do the budget to Jonathan. I really loved Jonathan's comment earlier this when we started
Good.
about how excited he was to have your book, and it's changed his life and his business. So we're definitely going to make Jonathan our winner today for that one.
Sounds like a good deal to me. Enjoy.
Yes, and I can't wait to see the selfies.
Yeah.
I might have to get it going and take a selfie of myself
That's right.
and get you guys on the train, the bandwagon, if you will.
Because you are the selfie queen.
I try.
I'm the video queen too.
No,
That's
not
right.
yet.
You're getting.
I will have a new studio soon that I can start practicing
Yeah.
becoming the video
So
queen.
hopefully, well, next week, our set would not be here yet, but at least we'll have a carpet. Maybe we'll do it in that place next
Yeah.
week. So, all right. So some homework for you. It's on page 32. Make some imagination time where you can just sit down and visualize and brain dump or think to yourself, whichever. You need to do that. Maybe sit down and reflect on past successes that you've had, just like I shared the story with you when I was 25 and winning that award, and that just kept happening over and over for me. Set some definite goals that are very, very important for you. And then respond positively to life. Ask life what you really want. Don't settle for the pennies like we talked about. And don't forget to do the exercise of the 6 things that you really need to do and come up with your statement, your desire statement. So those are the things that you really need to do. Now, in the meantime, keep controlling your thoughts. Keep going back to the light if you need to do interruptions in your mind. Make sure you do that.
I don't want you to go into the light. Just think about the light.
Yes. Remember, you have to take the time to really write these things down, though, because if you're just joining us and you're not doing the work after, you're not going to really get the best benefit. And I would love to hear some things that are going to start happening for you right now that you share them with us, because I guarantee you we're going to have some people that are joining us that are going to start experiencing some of these great things. So it makes a big difference. So if you filled out the poll for us, thank you so much, especially the one with challenges, and we can help you. And then next week, we're going to do the faith, and we're going to talk about visualization next week, which is very, very key to really believing in the attainment of desire. So they kind of all go hand in hand together. So that's going to be the second step to riches. We're on our way.
We're getting there.
We're on our way. So
I think you're stuck with me and Megan for a couple more weeks.
I know.
You
Yeah.
are.
And you're going to be here soon. So then
I
she's
will be
really
there soon. And then we'll get to do it all together, and that'll be even more fun.
That's
I
right.
know.
All right, you guys. Well, I've had such a fun time with you today. Keep studying, keep learning, keep going back and applying the things that we've talked about, because the more you apply, the luckier you're going to get. Makes it. We forgot to use that. You need to use it. All right, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and until next time, stay inspired. Bye now. Woo!
I'm dying to make that noise.
I like it. All right, have a great weekend,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Enjoy your weekend.
God bless. Bye-bye.